I just want white people to have a place to live. Like,
Sure.
there's no... The country's going to be minority white, and then a lot of people hate white people. Like, white people aren't, like, violent to that degree.
Yeah, me my phone. Have you ever heard of postcard lynchings?
What?
Postcard lynchings.
No.
So, all the way up into the 1960s, when black people got lynched, many people would take photos of those lynchings, and what they would do is they would put them on postcards and knickknacks, and people would spread them around. I won't show this on camera, but here's an example of what I'm talking about. This is called the dogwood tree.
Open the border right now.
These were knickknacks. So, if you want to say white people weren't violent, can I read you the poem on the bottom of this postcard?
No, I know about slavery.
This isn't about... No. This isn't slavery. No, 1908. This is 1908.
They turned us into salts and lamps.
This is from 1908. This is long past slavery.
I know.
This is the only branch of a dogwood tree, the emblem of white supremacy, a lesson taught in the pioneer school, that this is the land of the white man's rule. The red man once in an early day was told by the whites to mend his way. That, I can't say the word, the N-word, now, by eternal grace, must learn to stay in the N-word's place. In the sunny south, the land of the free, let the white supreme forever be. Let this be a warning to all N-words be, or they'll suffer the fate of the dogwood tree. And in it there is 5 black men hung. This is from 1910, and this actually is one of the most common ones. It circulated until 1960 and was sold in the South. So, yes, white people are violent too.
Well, we certainly can be.
Watch this video and let's talk about it.
17th is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people? They have a black Miss America. They have a black college. They have a black month. What do we have? And now they have Juneteenth. Yes, I understand there was slavery, don't get me wrong. But there was also a Holocaust, and that was more recent than slavery. But you don't hear the Jews saying, gimme, 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 gimme.
The honest truth about why probably most Gen Z white people are racist is because black people treated us like shit for no reason. Y'all's millennial parents raised you to be racist to white people. And so you go out into the world treating white people like crap, and you're shocked to your freaking core when white people don't like you.
We're not shocked. We're not clutching our pearls when a white person is racist. Do you know why? Because while you pretend that black people were racist towards you, your great-great-grandmother, your great-grandmother, your grandfather, and your mother have always been racist to us. And the same thing goes for your husband, that you literally met on racist forums in 4chan. You don't have to pretend as if there's a rational reason that you are racist. You've always been here. You've always been racist. Just be proud of it. Stop making excuses. I mean, unless you'd like to go over the long history of black people being racist towards white people in this country.
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel once again. So guys, for so many years we have been seeing how white people, they have been hating black people, and also we have been seeing the challenges and the struggle that black Americans have been going through, and it has made to a point whereby also black people, they have been coming out and say that they are not going to revenge because God will come out and avenge for them. Now right now we are seeing that majority of white folks, right now the reality, it is hitting them hard because right now they are being deceived with their own system. We are seeing that right now majority of white people, they are regretting how they've been treating black people. They are now coming out and starting to ask for forgiveness to the black people. So kindly guys, I want you to watch these compilations of videos, then I'll be back with more comment.
I think black people are way more racist towards white people in this country than the other way around.
Now they are. Today, because when...
and in America, by the way.
Oh, yes, I'm saying, because if you're talking about now, today, in terms of like what I've seen on the internet and what I've seen with these DEI roles in industries and businesses, all of a sudden when white people are going, I can't apply for that job.
That's racist in itself,
the whole DEI movement. It is, but white people are going, I can't apply for that job, I can't do that, I'm not allowed to go and be an actor, and black people are all of a sudden going, just deal with it.
I am so sick and tired of this chip that you're carrying on your shoulder. We have bent over backwards, we have done backflips to make you feel equal, and yet we've done everything. Perfect example is in the federal government. If you and I get the exact same rating for a position, do you know what? You get it. And do you know why? Because you're black. Is that fair? Is that fair to me?
There is a woeful lack of understanding
not only in the black community, but really in the white community, of why black people are in the condition that we're in and why all of the efforts that whites have made and government has made to try to solve the problem in the way that government sees fit has not really worked. And blacks are still crying out for more and more and more. And I realize that this is an irritant to white people because you really don't understand. And it's not really your fault. It's not really your fault, you just don't understand. But I think if you gave yourself a chance to hear what happened to these black people that makes them as they are as an irritant to you and those who think you have done the best you could. And maybe you have, but I respectfully suggest to you that there's so much more that could be done, that should be done, and that must be done if America is to survive. Believe me.
Why are there so many Chinese food restaurants in black neighborhoods?
These were 4 angry white men who believed that they, white men in America, were the victims of reverse discrimination in the workplace. And they all told stories about how they were qualified for jobs, qualified for promotions. They didn't get them. They were really angry. And the reason I'm telling you this is I want you to hear the title of this particular show. It was a quote from one of the men. And the quote was, "A black woman stole my job." And then it was my turn to speak. And I said, I have just one question for you guys. And it's about the title of the show. A black woman stole my job. Actually, it's about one word in the title. I want to know about the word my. Where did you get the idea it was your job? Why isn't the title of the show A Black Woman Got the Job or A Black Woman Got a Job? Because without confronting men's sense of entitlement, I don't think we'll ever understand why so many men resist gender equality. We think this is a level playing field. So any policy that tilts it even a little bit, we think, oh my God, water's rushing uphill. It's reverse discrimination against us. So let me be very clear. White men in Europe and the United States are the beneficiaries of the single greatest affirmative action program in the history of the world. It is called the history of the world.
It's due to a very special type of seasoning called
racism. It's what's for dinner.
Back in 1882, the U.S. passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, banning most Chinese immigrants from entering the country. But because the government loves money, it left a loophole. If you were a laborer, no entry. But if you owned a business, you could qualify as a merchant, which meant you could stay and you could bring your family over. Then in 1915, a court ruled that owning a restaurant counted as a business. And just like that, opening a Chinese restaurant became a one-way ticket into America. Then came a new problem in the 1960s. Basically, banks were racist as fudge. If Chinese folks wanted to open up restaurants in white neighborhoods, the answer was often no.
But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities.
Happy Black History Month, y'all.
Watch this video and let's talk about it.
17th is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people? They have a black Miss America. They have a black college. They have a black month. What do we have? And now they have Juneteenth. Yes, I understand there was slavery, don't get me wrong. But there was also a Holocaust, and that was more recent than slavery. But you don't hear the Jews saying, gimme, 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 gimme. What's the point of Juneteenth? What is it? I don't know.
I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and let's talk about what you just saw. So this woman asked the question, what's happening to the white people? She then said they have a black Miss America, they have a black college, they have a black month, and now they have Juneteenth. And then poses the question, what do white people have? Saying that you don't hear the Jews saying, give me, give me, give me, give me. Okay, let's take this point by point. Point number 1, remember, for decades, black women were excluded from the pageant entirely. Vanessa Williams became the first black Miss America in 1983, nearly 60 years after the competition began in 1921. Representation did not replace anyone, it corrected exclusion. Point number 2. HBCUs were founded because black students were barred from white institutions. The Morrill Act of 1890 required segregated states to provide land-grant colleges for black students if they refused to integrate. Historically, black colleges and universities were not handouts. There were parallel systems built because access was denied. Point number 3. Black History Month began as Negro Week in 1926, created by historian Carter G. Woodson to confront the systematic erasure of black contributions from textbooks and public memory. It expanded to a full month in 1976 during the nation's bicentennial. It exists because omission was policy. Point number 4. Juneteenth marks June 19th, 1865, when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas were informed of their freedom. More than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, it became a federal holiday in 2021. Juneteenth commemorates delayed freedom and then finished work of equality. Point number 5. The Holocaust comparison. Jewish communities absolutely sought justice. In 1952, West Germany signed the Luxembourg Agreement, committing billions in reparations to Holocaust survivors and to Israel. Compensation programs, restitution funds, and formal acknowledgement followed. Black Americans enslaved for nearly 250 years in the United States have never received federal reparations for slavery. The promise of land redistribution in 1865 was reversed. Instead came black codes, convict leasing, redlining, exclusion from GI Bill benefits, and a racial wealth gap that persists today. This is not give me, give me, give me. This is unaddressed harm. This is history without repair. Recognition is not lost. It is not lost to tell the full story. It is not lost to honor delayed freedom. It is not lost to repair documented harm. It is not lost to expand the table. It is not lost when justice reaches everyone. Commemoration is not competition. Justice is not a zero-sum game. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
They don't want any American children to know these stories, to know these truths. They don't want them to know. Out at his grave, but it stood there until 2018. He was a monster.
So if the data says, and it does, that white folks on average have 15 times the net worth of black folks, 13 times the net worth of Latino folk, right? We just assume, well, we must have worked harder. Is that right? That's interesting, because actually the black folks and brown folks have done some of the hardest work in this country ever since the country was founded. Were it not for the labor of African descended peoples, there would be no country at all. In fact, it was my family, white slave-owning family in the South that got black folks to do all the hard work because we were lazy asses and didn't want to work at all. White folks in the South on the plantation used to want to sit on the porch and drink mint juleps and have carriage rides rather than work, while black folks did all the real labor. And yet we decided that black folks are lazy, which I find fascinating. Right? And then people write to me and say, well, these black people, they're just taking all the jobs. Okay, which is it, precious? Because it can't be both. People of color can't take all the jobs and be lazy. I don't ask much of racists because I expect very little, but you cannot be lazy and take all the jobs. Are we at least clear on that? Like, if you took all the jobs, you were like the opposite of lazy. If you are indeed lazy, you probably did not even take one job, let alone all of them. So I just need racists to get their damn story straight. That's all I ask. I just don't like moving targets. That's all, right? But if I don't tell my daughter the truth, she defaults to the position of the culture, and then she can't understand what the problem is. The same is true with policing. You can't understand the Black Lives Matter movement and the importance of it if you don't know the history and the relationship between law enforcement and black and brown peoples. If you understood that history, you wouldn't ask one question about why this movement is necessary and why it's righteous. If you knew that history, but you don't know it, and it's not your fault. You weren't supposed to know it, and nobody taught it to you, right? So you don't have to know that modern policing traces back to slave patrols. That black folks' first experience with law enforcement was having, you know who? Working class and poor white folks on horseback going around keeping black folks in line on behalf of the rich master that owned all the property. That sounds a lot like modern policing, because ain't no rich people policing, right? It's working class folks who are out there protecting the property of rich people against the depredations of poor people. That's what modern policing is, and it traces back. And we know that's what modern policing is, by the way, because we will lock you up for 10 years for $100 worth of food stamp fraud. But if you take $12.5 trillion on Wall Street, 20% of the net worth of this country, you will not do 1 day in jail. So we know that law enforcement has got nothing to do with enforcing the law. It's got nothing to do with good people and bad people, lawbreakers and the law abiding. It only has to do with controlling certain people. And black and brown folks know it was cops who were involved in race riots and racial terrorism against black communities for the first 50 years of the 20th century. You didn't learn about that in class either, and that's not your fault. It wasn't taught. But in fact, every single year, just about from 1900 all the way to the 1930s, 1940s at least, There were race riots where white folks would just go into black communities, burn them to the ground, bomb them from the air like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, rip people out of their homes, beat them in the street, and police sat by, watched it happen, and participated. That doesn't mean that every cop in the modern era is like that, but it means that black folks can be excused for being not so clear on the decency of police in their communities because there's a history there. It was police who dragged black folks and white allies off of those sit-in stools at lunch counters in the South to enforce segregation. See, when your job is to enforce the law, and for most of American history, the law was against you as a people, then enforcing the law means you are the first line of oppression. People of color know that history and need to be excused when they don't just get over it because that continues. How do we know it continues? Very easy. We know from the data on racial profiling that black folks are twice as likely as white folks to be stopped and searched for drugs, even though white folks are more likely to have drugs on us on the occasions that we're searched. White folks use drugs and sell drugs at the same or higher rate than black folks and Latinos, and yet it is black folks and Latinos who in any given year make up 85 to 90% of the people who get arrested and incarcerated for a drug offense. See, people of color know that. And if we don't understand when black folks rise up and say Black Lives Matter. Well, what do you mean? All lives matter. Yes, sweetheart, I know they do. Yes, they do. And that is a totally irrelevant and unnecessary point to make. You see, you don't have to say all lives matter. We take that for granted. What we've never accepted in this country is that black and brown life matter. You have to proclaim that which is ignored, you see. That's why we have Black History Month right now and not White History Month. We don't have to have White History Month because we got May and June and July and August. And every other month where we learn about white folks, we don't have to call it that. See how slick that is? That's how white supremacy operates. You don't have to call it White History Month. You just call it history, literature and theater and poetry and art. You don't have to racialize where it came from, right? That's what Malefi Asante at Temple calls universalizing the particular, which is the hallmark of Eurocentric thought, right? Not everybody's experience is the same. And so when certain people have been left out of all, you have to call that out by name. Because see, we've always said all, and we didn't mean it. We said all men are created equal, and we didn't mean that shit, right? We didn't mean women, but we didn't even mean all men. We said all, and it was a lie when we said it, right? And so in a sense, when you say Black Lives Matter, to respond with all lives matter would be like going in a time machine back to 1971. Y'all won't remember this. Those who were students, those who were older will. Around 1970, 71, 72, the big phrase was black is beautiful, right? There was this desire to take back the beauty narrative from a beauty industry, fashion industry, glamour industry that had hijacked it and denigrated black physicality and beauty, right? So folks were saying black is beautiful to reclaim a sense of beauty for themselves. It'd be like getting in a time machine, going back to 1971, hearing somebody say black is beautiful and tapping them on the shoulder and going, but we're all beautiful in our own way. Yes, shut up, we know. Not the point. It'd be like going back to the early 80s when the HIV/AIDS crisis started. And it took several years for the president of the United States to even utter the word. Ronald Reagan didn't want to even utter the word, let alone cut loose with funding to deal with the problem until his buddy Rock Hudson died of it. And then all of a sudden he was willing to talk about it a little bit, right? So for the first several years, what'd you have? You had activists out in the street. You had ACT UP, gay men's health crisis, out in the street demanding research and funding for HIV/AIDS, right? And what they were saying in effect was people with AIDS lives matter. That wasn't the actual phrase, and we didn't have hashtags, but that was essentially what they were saying, right? People with AIDS lives matter, and we need to pay attention because right now we're not paying attention to that. And we don't seem to believe it as a society, so we need to start believing it. It would be like getting in a time machine, going back to 1983, 82, in the middle of an ACT UP event or a gay men's health crisis event and shutting down the protest by saying, yeah, but what about pancreatic cancer? People die of all kinds of things, right? Sort of not the point. You have to proclaim that which is ignored. And if we know the history, we understand that, right? Because if we know the history, we know that it is indeed black life. And I would suggest brown life, life of color generally, indigenous life, that is usually denigrated, demeaned, ignored. On a sexual level, it's trans lives that are demeaned, ignored, right? It's women as women. So sometimes you got to proclaim that which is not in the obvious frame of reference. There's nothing pernicious about it. It's not about saying black lives are worth more than other lives. It's about, damn it, these lives actually do matter. And even though the history says they don't, we're here to tell you that they do. And there's nothing wrong about that at all. But if you don't know the history, it might seem untoward. And I get it. And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got here and for what reason. See, black folks know why they're here. Native peoples know why they're here and how they got here. A lot of Asian folk know, particularly if they're Chinese American, they know they got here because their ancestors were brought over to work on the railroads by the railroad barons who didn't care if thousands of them died laying track 19, 20 hours a day. But for those of us who are from Europe, we have this fiction that we've told, and we believe it, even though there's no truth to it. You know what the fiction is? It's two parts. Number one, we say things like, with regard to Mexicans coming over the border, with regard to immigrants coming over, but only that border. That's the only one we care about, right? The southern border. I find that interesting. We're not flipping out about Canada, right? We don't have any of the Minutemen or the anti-immigrant groups sitting off the coast of Nova Scotia with a gun and a scope trying to like pick off the sneaky Canadians that are trying to sneak in here for our superior healthcare system, which after all would be a pretty stupid thing to do. But in any event, we only care about that one border, forgetting for a minute that that border was created at the end of a war that was started on false pretense by this country, after which we jacked half of their country. And you weren't taught that in school either, because our history books aren't interested in telling the truth. They tell this very patriotic history that has no relationship to the fact. So that border is artificial. Mexican folk who are coming here, documented or not, let's be clear, are coming home. Their families were here before our families were here in almost every instance. But we forget that, and then we say things like, well, I don't mind them coming. I just want them to come legally like my people did. The hell does that even mean? Come legally? There was no law to break when our people came. The fact that we didn't break a law that didn't even exist, you don't get cookies for that. You don't get like a pat on the back and a gold star because your great, great, great whatever was law abiding when there was no law that he could have violated, even if he wanted to. But we've told this lie that we came for these upstanding principles. So we'll say things like, well, you know, our people came for liberty and freedom, democracy. These people are just coming for stuff. They're just coming for jobs. They're just coming for health care. They're just coming for stuff. We came for high-minded principle, right? Because we believe that. What kind of third grade version of American history is that? Right? Like when Donald Trump says, well, Mexico's not sending their best. What the hell? You think Europe sent their best? Europe? No, our people were the losers of Europe. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just telling you the truth. Like, our people were the losers of Europe. The winners didn't get on the boat. You understand what I'm saying? The winners didn't leave. Why the hell would you leave if you were winning? Only the losers left because they had no choice. They were dying. They were starving. They couldn't support their families. A lot of them were convicts who were sold into indentured servitude to work for rich European people. They were barely above the level of a slave themselves. The idea that we had these we didn't believe in liberty and freedom. And we know that because once we got to the colonies, we set up the opposite of liberty and freedom. And I don't just mean that for like black folks and native folks. I mean, even for other white folks. Like, we spent most of the time in the early colonies trying to figure out who the witch was, right? It was like, well, you're not a Christian. Well, no, you're not a Christian. Well, no, you're not a Christian. I'm going to hang you from a tree. Really? Well, I'm going to drown you in the stream. Well, I'm going to set you on fire. Like, that wasn't liberty. The colonies were some of the least free places in the history of the cosmos. But we act like we came for liberty, and they're just here to take advantage. Let's be clear. Our people didn't come for liberty. They came for stuff.
2 years after the Little Rock 9 integrated Southern high schools, another prominent event happened in Arkansas, a massacre that many people don't even know about. 69 boys who attended a dormitory school in Wrightsville, Arkansas, who all lived and resided in this one room that you see in this picture, were burned. While living there, they had to wash up with a bucket. They all shared the same bucket of water. They all lived in the same hall. And on this night, the door was padlocked and it was set on fire. 21 died, 48 survived, no one was ever held accountable. The families received, in some cases, a couple hundred, in another case, 1,400, nothing more than 2,500. And this incident did not receive a historical marker until 2018. Frank Lawrence, whose brother was there that night, and Griffin Stockley are fighting to keep this story alive. But let me know, did you know about this arson, this massacre?
Guys, I hope you have watched that video and you have seen how right now majority of white people, they are coming out and realizing that they are being deceived with their own system. Right now they feel like the system also, it has started to turn against them, because right now we are seeing that majority of white Americans, majority of especially those MAGA people, those people who voted for Donald Trump, we are seeing right now how they are really struggling, and the same struggle that right now they are facing, the same challenges and struggle that right now they're going through, it is the same that black people they have been going through. And black people, they came out and talk about it. They told these people how the system it has been against them, how they are being treated. But these white people, they have never come out and tried to listen to the cries of black people. So right now we are seeing that also the system, it has also starting to affect them. It has started to turn against them, and right now you can see they are really regretting. So right now they are now coming out and realize that, oh, this system, we need to get rid of it because it has started to also affect them. But you know, whenever black people that have been coming out and complaining, these people, they have never come out and listen to the black people. So right now they are now realizing that the system, it has started to turn against them. And also guys, you can see how the government, it has been treating them. Right now majority of Americans, they feel like America dream, it is collapsing because of how also they are really going through. Because right now we can see that even some of the white people, they cannot even afford basic necessity. If the Americans, they cannot afford basic necessity right now, what about for those people who have been seeing the American, the first world country? How those people who have been seeing that America, it is the land of opportunity, how right now they are seeing America like America, there is no dream anymore. America dream, it is no anymore. And that's why you can see right now majority of them, they are regretting. And also guys, black people that have been coming out and asking these people to change the system, to stop treating them how they've been treating them. Whatever black people that have been wanting in America, it is equality and justice for all people. But these people, they have never come out and considered that to the black people. So kindly guys, I just want to read some of the comments and see what majority of people that have come out and say. This one is saying that the white people knew police was brutalizing black people, but it wasn't them. So life goes on. It ain't me. Exactly. You saw how the police was you saw how the police was doing to the black people. Whenever black people that have been protesting, you can see how the police were treating them. You can see the difference of how white people that have been protesting and the difference of black people protest. The police that have been always jailing or also shooting black people when they were protesting. But when white people that have been protesting, there is no people who can lose their life. There is no people who can be jailed. But for the black people, they have been always taking them to jail. They have been killing them on their protests. So that's why you can see this one saying that the white people knew police was brutalizing black, but these white people that have never come out and stand to come out and defend black people. So this one saying that, did he say white people weren't violent? Haha, you can't be serious. So this one is saying that please, they already knew what was going on. They just chose to look the other way as long as they could enjoy their privilege. Exactly. So you know, one thing about white people, we have come out to learn that whenever the system, it is not affecting them, whenever they are living well, whenever anything goes on their way, these people, they will never come out and talk about it. But whenever the things that started to come out and affect them, now they will come out. You can see how the system was affecting black people. These people, they never came out and start to help black people. But right now you can see the system has started to turn against them, and they are coming out and wanting help from black people. But black people, they have now stayed silent. Black people, they are not concerned with how they are really going, with how they are struggling. This one is saying that, do they remember there were already people here? This one is saying that Jews not only say give me because institutionally the government just give them through political policies. So this one saying that these people that have been living also depending on the government assistance, they have been having a large support from the government, and that's why these people that have been living well. But since DJT came to office, he made them like these people, they are now realizing that, oh, the system also can change and they cannot depend on the government assistance anymore. So right now they're going through a lot because they have been living depending so much on the government assistance, and that's why you can see they are coming out and really crying, because these people, they always know that the poverty, all the challenges and struggle, it was meant for black people. But right now they're now coming out and realize, no, it is the challenges and the struggle, it is not only for black people. So this one is saying that no, such things as black race is the rationale of white people thinking they are the victim is upstanding. This one is saying that damn it, it is their fault for not knowing the fact about their history. They didn't come for liberty, they came for the implementation of manifest destiny or mass genocide of the native and land theft. So this one is saying that there is no such thing as a racist black person, period. Exactly, there is no such thing as racist black person. This one is saying that this man literally sat up there with a straight face and said that white people have never been violent. Excuse me, I beg you pardon. Exactly. How can you come out and say that white people have never been violent? So when these people, they came to Africa and take our brothers and sisters away went away with them, you can see how they treated our brothers and sisters. They forced them into forced labor. These people, they built America without being paid. These people, they work in the white farms without being paid. And whenever these people that have been asking for reparation, these people that have been denying to give them their reparation, then you come out and say that white people, they are not violent. How can you come out and say white people, they are not violent? And you are the ones who came to the people's neighborhood, the people to other people country, and start torturing them and start making them a slave, and went away to work for you guys without you paying them. And then you are coming out and say that white people, they are not violent. So I can agree and say not all white people, but majority, some of them, they are. So this one saying that it's funny because small heart getting trillions from US every year. America paid everybody else except black people. This one is saying that black people in the USA cannot be racist. These people are conflating racism with prejudice. Please, said your history people. Exactly. You know, one thing that these people, they usually fear is to say the true history, their true history, because they know that their history, it is very bad. Their white history, it is very bad, and that's why you can see there's a Black History Month. But have you seen white history? No, because their history, it is very bad. People cannot really want to read or to listen to their white history. So kindly guys, you can also share your thought on the comment section. I'll be reading it on my next video. Thank you so much guys. See you in my next one. Bye bye.